Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour of our show on this Thursday. Don't forget, tomorrow we got picks with my Pops. I'm sure he's going to brag about how he did in week one. We'll do that. We wrap things up tomorrow's show to get ready for the weekend. And the weekend will bring the first Bison home game of 2025. Southeast Missouri State comes to town. First time ever that they're going to play a game in the state of North Dakota. First time ever playing a North Dakota school. They haven't played the Bison at all, and this will be a first-timer for the Redhawks, who play in the Ohio Valley Conference. 2 of the last 3 years, they've won that league and made the playoffs. A couple of years ago, they played out of Missoula, lost to Montana. Game, actually, they led for a majority of it before the Grizz got their act together and pulled away and won the football game. Last year, they ended up hosting Illinois State in the opening round of the playoffs. They committed 8 turnovers in that game and yet still had a chance. The Redbirds ended up picking up the victory. Yesterday afternoon, I had a chance to visit with their head coach, Tom Matukiewcz, about scheduling this game, the opportunity that presents itself for the Redhawks, and what they're hoping to get out of the trip to Fargo.
I think the thing we've been able to accomplish is SEMO football means something. When I got here, it didn't. There was apathy. You know, people were embarrassed to even put a football shirt on. You know, that's not the case. We have great attendance now, got a good fan base. We got a lot of those things going on. I think what we got to do is build all the infrastructure. You know, we're doing a $20 million stadium renovation. We're, you know, a lot of personnel stuff that we got to get fixed. And so I think for us to take the next step, you know, we're going to have to do some stuff from a facility standpoint and an infrastructure standpoint to get there. But our university is committed. We're trying to do revenue share, which, you know, it's a stretch for a school our size and things like that. So, but there is a commitment here. They now believe that we could do some things, and they're trying to do everything they can to do their part.
How much does winning help with that, to show the higher ups that, hey, we're competing, we're going, and we're knocking teams off, we're making the postseason, to invest in us?
No, that is my job. You know, they don't build facilities and then you win. That never happens. Like, they always build facilities after you win. And so you got to, hey, look, we are a flag bearer for our institution. They've spent a lot of money on our program, and when we play, we need to create value not only for our institution but our region and those type of things, and we take that very serious.
You're in a pretty fertile recruiting area. Tell me about St. Louis, Kansas City, hitting those areas. Like, because I know the Dakotas come down there pretty often too, that say we got to be impact here, we got to get the guys here to come to SEMO.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one unique thing about us is we're about 2 hours from 4 states. So that's a little unique in our area. But, you know, we recruit about 6 hours from us. You know, I really feel like that's kind of the window that we look at. And so we can get to a lot of different states, and recruiting's everything. You know, just that's what the Bison have done. But I also think what they've done well is they're not chasing stars and things like that. They really recruit guys that fit their program. And that's what I've learned here is, you know, what makes a SEMO recruit is really important, you know, and so that's what we got to stick to.
I got to know about, I know you had Paxton DeLorme for so long, just a tremendous player. How much does his success open the door for you to get other quarterbacks, like a guy like Jax, to come to your school?
Absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, you have proof. You know, we talk about we want to do this and do that, but when you can show it, and we want to be a balanced team. We weren't a balanced team last year because of injuries and some stuff like that. But you know, we're not going to beat a good team without throwing it. And so just having that kind of success, him going to the Manning camp, you know, just kind of validates what we do here. If you're a quarterback, you want to be able to go to something like that. You know, it's just as a program, as you build it, you're standing on the shoulders of those before us, and without a Paxton, then it's hard to get a Jax, and hopefully it'll continue on.
This is the largest quarterback you've ever coached and seen?
This would be the largest player I've ever coached. So 6'8", 255 is, you know, you think, my God, it can't be 6'8", and he really kind of is. So it's pretty unique. It's funny because I was talking to his quarterback trainer in San Diego, and I was like, "Man, I can't believe no more people are recruiting him." They say, they're scared of his size, and I was like, "That's why I want him." So it's amazing what I like,
Yeah.
people didn't like. And so, I changed my philosophy 3 years ago that I don't want a mobile. I don't want a dual threat. Like I just don't think you could stay healthy long term. And at the end of the day, every great game that you have is going to be a 2 minute drive. And I want a quarterback that's what he does the best. And so he's a pocket guy. He's mobile enough, but you at his best is it's 3rd and 8. He drops back there and you give him a pocket. That's his sweet spot.
What made you come to that philosophy change about not wanting a mobile quarterback anymore? You mentioned health wise. Was there something that just clicked to say this is the way I
One
want to
other
go?
thing is we had trouble stopping. Most running quarterbacks have a good run game, and so from a defense, we never struggled with a dual threat quarterback. We had trouble stopping a guy that could really throw it, and so I just felt like that's what we should try. We get as much mobile as we can get, but I'm not taking a guy that can't spin it.
Mm. I got to ask about having the brothers match up. You've had Peyton last year, Peyton Brown, who just had a dynamite year. His older or his younger brother is obviously up here. Describe that relationship and what you're expecting maybe on Saturday from each of them.
Yeah, man, they are just raised well. Their mother and father are some of the best people on the planet. They're both super competitive, raised great kids. Peyton, I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was going to be that good, to be honest. I was surprised just at his quickness and his ability to how quick he could cut, see things, and some stuff like that. Hated that he got hurt last year. When you look at him, you think he's 38, but we have to all understand, this is still a 20-year-old, and so he's still learning the game and the protections and all the other things. But he's a great Red Hawk, and I know that he's looking forward to seeing his brothers. I'm sure there'll be we were actually the first one to offer the quarterback. And so North Dakota State at least can't say they were the first.
When you look at any issue, what stands out? We have to do this if we're going to win or have a chance to win the football game on Saturday.
Well, I mean, it's probably more philosophy wise because really player wise, there's not like you can't say there's a weakness. And so then you just go through and you look at how do we win as a team, and I think we got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to stop the run. And that's, comes down to our ability to hang on to the ball. If we're 3 and out, the game's going to get away from us. If we can't stop the run, then we'll never get them in a passing situation. And then it's hard to turn them over. It's hard to do all the other things that it takes. Can't turn it over. Hopefully we can maybe make a turnover or something, and that gives us an extra possession. But that's how you beat those teams. I showed them and talked a little bit of SIU game. In 2021, they knocked them off when they're #1 team in the country. So I mean, it can be done, but it wasn't in the Fargo Dome. They're 38-1 in playoff home games, and so we understand just how challenging Saturday will be.
What have you heard about the Dome? What have your colleagues told you about coming up here?
So it'd be a great experience. They said it's going to be loud and the fans are awesome. I mean, there's been no negative. It was all positive, and I'm bringing some of our collective guys and administration and some people also so they can see, what are some things that we need to know what the market looks like. We need to know what we're looking up at. And so that'll be a helpful thing for our administration to see.
I got to ask, Coach Polisic mentioned he knows a bunch of guys that have worked with you or for you or over the last few years. Do you guys have a direct connection or not yet?
Well, I don't know if you know Ryan Napoli,
Yep,
but Ryan
absolutely.
Napoli was my
Yep.
strength coach, and Polasek actually got him hired here. I talked to him. I didn't know Ryan from anybody. Obviously, I love the fact that he's from North Dakota State, but other than that, I didn't really know much. And then he was at Wyoming with Jay Salvell, and Jay Salvell and I were at several jobs together on
Okay.
Kill Tree.
It's crazy how the coaching tree is the connections on that. That's amazing to me. I want to ask about Ohio Valley football, and obviously now with you guys combined with the Big South, what's the best way for you to describe your conference and the style of football that's played there?
I think one of the best things about it is it's pretty wide open. You don't have, uh, like a North Dakota State in it. You have a lot of guys that can compete for it. I think it's coached better than people uh, realize. I think there's just a lot of quality coaches in the league. But I also feel like our league needed to get going. Like, I don't think we're, doing well enough. I don't think we're led well. And so I think in nowadays times that there's a lot of risk
Mm.
of what is going on. And if you're not a high achieving football league, what does that mean for you long term?
Yeah.
People will jump ship it could get scary in a hurry.
I got to ask on looking at where things are at going forward, especially with these kind of games. Are you hopeful hey, we want to do more of this to maybe schedule a South Dakota State, other Valley school? I know you play Southern, and I want to talk about that in a second in SIU, but are you hopeful to do more of these games if you can?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I really do. It helps prepare you for the playoffs, great atmospheres. We've played Montana State, all those schools are great to play. Love to get to the Dakotas. Um, so I think it's what's great about our level of football.
I asked Nick Hill this when at Missouri Valley Media Day about the rivalry with SIU and SEMO and the battle for the wheel. Obviously you've coached in for so long now. Can you describe what I know you're worried about this week, but what next week is and what that means to both schools?
Yeah. What's crazy is it didn't always used to be like this. Nick and I have gotten the programs to where now it's a community event. And
Yeah.
so when we play, like, it's not just two teams, it is two communities, two regions that are going together. We had already sold more tickets last week for the SIU game than even our home opener, and we had a great crowd for it. For the last, I think, 6 years, whoever's won made the playoffs, things like that. So it just adds to the rivalry, and it's been a fourth quarter game. It's not a nasty rivalry. We have a lot of respect for each other. Obviously, I coached Nick when I was at SIU, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. And so it's a good, healthy rivalry. It really is.
Last thing, Coach, and I really appreciate the time. You've coached in a lot of spots. Will you take a little time, look around, just take in the environment Saturday before the game?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm old enough that I really try to appreciate things. I'm, really thankful for this opportunity. Try to soak it all in. I won't get bothered by the crowd at all. I hope I'm going to try to amp them up. I think it's awesome to have a big environment like that.
That's my conversation there with Tom Matukiewcz, head coach at Southeast Missouri State. Redhawks will head up tomorrow. Get ready for the football game coming up on Saturday. Appreciate his time. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a busy Sports Thursday. Hot Mike will wrap after this.